A lot of embarrassed folks at the Veterans Affairs Department today. It seems the VA sent out letters to more than 1,800 people telling them they are eligible for 100% disability because they have the fatal disease Lou Gehrig's disease. The thing is, some of those people don't. As a result, some of these vets underwent a battery of painful and expensive tests. The National Gulf War Resource Center, a veterans group, says the number of those wrongly diagnosed or at least informed of their diagnosis by this letter could be at least 1,200. The VA disputes that number, says less than 10 people actually called to complain. Let's talk about it with Brent. He's a veteran who received the ALS letter from the VA. So tell us, Brent, you are on disability because of your injuries received during the Gulf War. You opened this letter, and what did you think?
Yes, I am, John. Well, I thought I received a death sentence. The letter informed me directly in one sentence that I had been diagnosed by the VA with Lou Gehrig's disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. So I thought, in fact, I'd received a death sentence in the mail. Pretty
emotional event for you. You said you talked about it with your mother and told her what?
Absolutely. Actually, my mother called me and read the letter to me over the phone. The letter had gone to my mother's house, and it was several minutes before I could finally get myself back together to actually speak to her over the phone and grasp what the letter said and the impact of it all.
You thought you'd be dead, what, in 5 years at most?
I sobbed to her, Mom, I'll be dead in 3 to 5 years. I know what ALS is. There is no cure. It's 100% fatal.
You know that because you volunteer at your local VA hospital, I know, and it turns out you don't have the disease. How'd you find that out?
Well, I couldn't do anything about it that afternoon. I received the phone call from my mother, like I said, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Wasn't anything I could do about it until 8 o'clock the next morning, when I did call my regional office and asked to speak to someone in the director's office. It was late that afternoon before they finally figured out that it was all just a big mistake. It was all an accident.
We asked the Department of Veterans Affairs for a statement on this. Here's part of what they told us. They say Veterans Affairs employees are personally contacting these individuals to ensure they understand the letter should not be confused with a medical diagnosis of ALS, explain why they mistakenly received the letter, and express VA's sincere apologies for the distress caused by this unfortunate and regrettable error. Now, they also said that less than 10 people have called to complain, but that could be that, you know, the 1,200 others or 1,190 are simply in shock, huh?
Absolutely, or they don't know yet. I'm so grateful to yourself and Fox News for putting this out. I mean, this is something that should have been put into the news media last Friday. We're days way too late here getting the word out to these other 1,200, 1,800, I've heard both numbers, plus veterans that have been. There is no mistake about the letter. The letter does say you have been diagnosed with ALS. There are no two different ways to read the letter.
How did they make this mistake? Did they ever explain that to you?
I was given the explanation that it was a diagnostic code error, that my a diagnosis from 2006 had been given a diagnostic code, and then that code transferred to ALS, so the computer automatically generated the letters.
And so you don't have ALS. That's the good news. But you think
Absolutely.
There are a lot of your fellow veteran brethren out there who are thinking they have it and they don't.
That's correct. I mean, I can be thankful now. I have had a phone conversation with the director at a VA office. I've had an explanation. The purpose here today is to get the word out to these other hundreds of veterans, specifically Gulf War veterans, that haven't gotten the word. What about the fellow that comes home from vacation this evening after being gone for 5 days and opens the letter?
Yeah.
That's the purpose of we need to get the word out to these guys.
Brent Casey, a veteran of the Gulf War, thank you for your service, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, John.
I want to get to some